And just like that, yet another breathtaking and electrifying year of competitive Melee is officially in the books. From Jmook's history-defining run at Genesis 9 to Zayn and Cody's climactic first to 10 clash for #1 in the world, to say 2023 delivered on a treasure trove of incredible moments would be a gargantuan understatement. In my opinion, in what easily will go down as a highlight 365 days, we saw gods fall, national contenders stake their claim on the world stage, and the race for the title of #1 become the fiercest it has ever been. And although 2024 is already underway, we should take a minute to reflect on some of those amazing events and performances from this past year. My name is Turndown4Walt, and here is my list for the top 10 moments of Melee in 2023. Acknowledged by many to be the go-to tournament destination in Tri-State, the function has recently shaped up to become one of the East Coast's biggest yearly regional competitions, routinely bringing in a plethora of top-notch players from around the globe. And for its third iteration this past November, the Function 3 had proved to be the largest iteration in the series to date, coming in at 259 entrants along with hosting a large handful of SSBM ranked talent. This included tournament favorites like Hax, Aklo, Jmook, and the return of Slug. And also, mind you, this was a one-day event, which is pretty insane for that number of entrants. But in a rather surprising turn of events, the individual who wound up taking home the gold wouldn't hail from Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, or anywhere on the East Coast for that matter.
Suck my dick.
Instead, a visiting S2J would shock the world by not only winning the tournament, but doing so against 3 players who he either had even or losing matchups against in Magi, the aforementioned Slug, and Aklo. His victory over Aklo in particular was so impressive when you factor in that Aklo had already defeated S2J in their previous encounter in Winners Finals, where he lost in a rather convincing 3-1 fashion. Not wanting to go home empty-handed, however, the SoCal Captain Falcon went on a demolition derby, beating Chem in Losers Finals before finally getting his revenge by taking 2 back-to-back sets against Aklo, with the last set being an insane 3-0 stomping. Having bested the King of New York on his home turf, S2J had not just won his first regional-sized event since the new Mang 2 back in June of 2022, the Californian also earned the temporary title of King of New York Melee in the process. Long live the King of New York, which is S2J right now. Okay, whatever, you get it.
And he's power shielding every move. How's he doing this? He sees everything.
Oh, this is stacking up so much.
Punches, it's over. It's over. Johnny.
Let's go.
Johnny has he's the king of the New York.
He's the king of New York.
He's the king of New York now.
He's the king of New York for now.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Heading into Super Smash Con 2023, a lot was riding on the line for the then best player in the game, Zayn Nagmi. Although he had begun to make up ground in the race for #1 after a disappointing start to the year by winning both Tip Top 14 and Fate 3 by the Sea, he still found himself tied with both Cody Schwab and Jmook for most major title victories in 2023. And with a stacked lineup of some of the best in Melee making the trip out to Virginia to seize the crown for themselves, the pressure was on to see if Zayn had what it took to firmly solidify his place at the top of Melee's pecking order. There was also a bit of regional pride to be had here as well, as the MDVA resident Zayn had never won a SmashCon on his home turf, and to quote the legendary Homemade Waffles, we needed to see if the big dog was capable of winning in the doghouse. Looking to improve on a 4th place performance at last year's Super Smash Con, Zayn wasted absolutely no time in reminding the community exactly why he was the game's top dog by speedily cutting his way into Winners Finals. Along the way, he dusted Kevin Maple, Zamu, Kadoran, and Moki. But waiting for him in Winners Finals was none other than the greatest Fox main on the planet, Eggdog Esports' very own Cody Schwab, whom Zayn managed to shut down with a spectacular 3-1 victory. And with Cody dropping to the losers bracket, naturally Zayn would have to run it back against Cody as he was the other contender for #1, right? Well, for his final test of the weekend, Zayn had to lock horns with the former #1 player on the planet, Hungrybox, who went on an insane run at this tournament. Up until this point in 2023, these two players had crossed paths on 5 separate occasions, with Zayn coming out on top every single time. And with only one of those sets ever not being a 3-0, which came at LACS 5 where Zayn won 3-2. But here, Hungrybox ended up pushing his Marth adversary almost to his limits by nearly forcing an unprecedented bracket reset against Zayn. That just wasn't meant to be though, as Hungrybox would eventually miss a crucial rest punish in Game 5 as the clock wound down that ultimately cost him the tournament, allowing Zayn to finally take home a major tournament in his own backyard.
Territory, Walt. Here we go. Okay, he's got to rest. He has to rest.
Zayn knows now he has the lead. 30 seconds left on this last game. Here we go. Ace Bucks can't find a way in. There it is. The rest is it. It's over. Zayn says, I am #1 in the world for a reason, and we'll take this one home. Super Smash Con 2023, Brandon. I can't believe it.
Let's go.
Since its humble beginnings back in 2016, Shine had grown to become the premier national event of the summer of Smash. But sadly, due to growing financial concerns alongside the tumultuous state of esports as a whole, it was regretfully announced that the series would be coming to an end with its 2023 iteration. Though this news was expectedly met with its fair share of gloom and concern over the fate of other prominent tournaments, this didn't stop Shine 2023 from going out with a loud, resounding bang that can still be heard even today. The tournament was the 4th most attended national of the year up until that point, with 683 entrants, and that was composed of elite world-class contenders like Chem, Magi, Aklo, Jmook, Cody Schwab, and Zayn. It also laid claim to one of the most thrilling grand finals in modern Melee history when Zayn pitted himself against the now newly minted Midwest phenom Cody Schwab. Despite Zayn having overcome Cody in their previous 2 meetings at LACS 5 and Super Smash Con 2023, Cody unexpectedly made short work of his opponent when they faced off in Winners Finals, with him casting Zayn into the losers bracket with a decisive 3-0 thrashing. It wouldn't take long for the iconic Red Mart to earn a second shot at Cody though, as Zayn would swiftly put away Aklo 3-0 next to challenge Cody again in what would potentially be the final set of Shine ever. This match did not disappoint in the slightest, with Zayn capturing the first set of grands with a dominant 3-0, and the battle between the best 2 players in the business world would only heat up from there, with Zayn and Cody taking their action-packed rivalry to dazzling new heights. Ultimately, it was Cody who went on to close out the second set after a razor-thin 3-2 triumph to secure the biggest tournament win of his career at the time and closing out the Shine series on a monumentally high note. Let's also talk about this laugh as they go into Last Stock Game 5 Grand Finals. I mean, come on man, this is just peak Melee. So it was only after my recap of Shine 2023 that I realized I might have not ended it as poetically as I wanted to. So instead, I'm gonna end this entry about Shine with a totally appropriate quote from the popular English rock band Pink Floyd. To everyone who entered, ran, or watched Shine 2023, shine on, you crazy diamonds.
Wait a minute! Tech chase! Zayn's turn! Misses it! Cody's turn!
Oh my God,
Zayn's
again!
Yo!
Wait a minute.
One more
Can
edge
Cody
guard,
get this
Cody.
edge guard?
Take it! Oh no! Zayn's leaving! What was that? Oh, what's happening? It's up there! It's it! Cody Schwab! He's off the stage!
Yo, that was crazy.
And the job is finally
That
finished.
was crazy.
About a month ago, I released a video detailing how Salt had risen to become one of the Southern US's most promising Melee players. With multiple highlight reel first place finishes at events like Low Tide City, Rise and Grind, and Luminosity Makes Moves Miami, Salt ended the year as something of a regional legend. That's not to say she didn't positively excel on the national level as well though, as the pride of Houston, see I remember this time, it's not Austin, finished no lower than 17th at any major that she entered. She also impressively netted a whole slew of set wins over some of the world's finest in Laud, Triff, Magi, Joshman, Zuppy, Axe, and Hungrybox. Melee's big 3 of Captain Falcon, S2J, Wizrobe, and Nunn may have to introduce a 4th into their ranks, because in all respects, 2023 could be considered a true breakout year for Salt. And by the end of next year, I wouldn't be all that surprised to hear me continue to talk about how much higher she's risen within the ranks of Melee's most stalwart elite.
One stock on
This
both
is it.
sides. This is for all the marbles. Rank 15
Oh my God.
on the line.
This is it. The grab, but the interrupt with the wake up shine.
Waiting
Oh,
and
the movement.
guessing roll.
Great patience
Everyone
dash
knew
attack.
that roll was
Oh.
coming. And Zuppy.
Oh my God. No.
Doesn't get a stop.
Still living. Still living.
Wait, the falling knee?
Oh,
Wait,
oh,
huge.
this is huge.
could
This
be
is it. This
Takes
could be
it
it.
at the edge guard.
No. Oh my God.
Salt
Ooh.
takes it with a massive
Oh,
pop-off.
God.
How did she know he was going to ledge?
Yes. Yes.
Throughout the summer of Smash, 2 of Melee's most elusive marquee names had single-handedly captured the attention of the world time after time on the international stage. Those 2 names, of course, are Plup and Wizrobe. While we didn't see much of them during the first half of 2023, they both nonetheless had managed to make stellar impacts at the larger tournaments they attended during the summer season. In the case of Plup, this included his first place run at CEO 2023, where he defended his championship belt for the first time, along with taking home the gold at Riptide 2023 after falling just short at second place the previous year to Hungrybox. He also quietly got his way to a second place at the Big House 11, one of the biggest tournaments of the year. And Wizrobe? Well, to put it lightly, he quite easily logged one of the most eye-opening performances of the month of June when the Floridian Titan went on to capture a marvelous second place showing at CEO, his first non-local appearance of 2023. Here, Wizzy would absolutely lay waste to the competition by effortlessly blitzing his way into winners finals by pushing past top-tier opponents like Moff and Jmook, who at the time was still in the running for being called the best player in the world. Unfortunately for Wizzy though, his attempt at claiming his first CEO belt wound up being stymied tremendously by Plup, who defeated him twice in both the event's winners finals and grands, but Wizrobe almost reset the bracket in a tight Game 5 barn burner. Funnily enough, this exact same scenario actually repeated itself just 2 months later when the two came to blows at Riptide 2023, where Wizrobe once again fell to Plup in both winners and grand finals. And just like before, Wizrobe would, you guessed it, nearly complete the comeback with a supremely back and forth bracket reset. From this point on, we really didn't get to see much of these competitors in action throughout the rest of the year, with Plup and Wizrobe entering less than 2 tournaments each by the time it was over. However, though the duo had mostly returned to their respective hyperbolic time chambers to wait for the community to let its guard down again, they had more than left their mark on 2023 Melee by engaging in one of the summer's most entertaining rivalries. Here's to seeing Plup and Wizrobe again in 2024, hopefully more than once.
Oh, the red up air!
The beautiful timing on
Gets
that up
out of
air.
there.
Oh my God,
putting up a
Wizrobe.
ball, forward air.
One more shot and
the
gets taken
repeat.
out. Plup is your CEO champion for Melee.
He's taking the second belt home.
Second.
The second belt, 2 years running. This is the house of Red Bull Plup.
Halfway through our list, and I want to thank my good friends at Into the AM for sponsoring today's video. Into the AM is a team of artists and creators that's been outfitting your passion since 2012. And mine too. I've been wearing their stuff for years, even before they started sponsoring me, so transitioning into working with this company was actually so seamless. Get it? Seamless? Like clothes? Anyway, Into the AM practically powers my entire wardrobe at this point. Like, actually, almost all the clothes I wear, which aren't my own merch, turndownforwalt.com, by the way, are by them. If you're interested in grabbing some clothes, you can use my promo code WALT at checkout, or go to intotheam.com/WALT to get an additional 10% off on top of whatever sale may be going on. Anyway, I appreciate you listening to me ramble, especially in an icky mid-roll sponsor, but I really do hope you consider some new items from Into the AM. They're awesome, and I'm so excited to work with them in 2024 and beyond, and like I've said so many times before, I really do love working with them, so if you want to help me out while also getting yourself a few new pieces of clothing, I would super appreciate that. Thanks again to Into the AM for supporting the channel. Now let's get back to the best Melee moments of 2023. From 2008 to 2015, a group of players referred to as the Five Gods of Melee in Armada, Hungrybox, Mango, Mewtwo King, and PPMD dominated nearly every tournament where at least 2 of them were in attendance. For over a decade, these 5 stood in a class all their own, with barely any other players outside of their pantheon being able to pose any serious threat to them. To prove this point even further, let me remind you that since the inception of the official global rankings back in 2013 up until 2022, every single top 100 list, either SSBM rank or MPGR, had always been topped by one of the gods, with players like Armada and Hungrybox holding up the #1 slot for several years straight. However, by the early 2020s, it had become pretty clear that the era of the 5 had long since come to an end, as PPMD, Armada, and Mewtwo King had all but retired from competitive play. At the same time, the 2 remaining active gods, Hungrybox and Mango, while still remaining steadfast threats on the international stage, had begun to noticeably struggle when it comes to consistency and/or motivation in recent years. So, for the first time in Melee history, in the summer 2023 rankings, none of the 5 gods would appear within the top 5, truly signifying the end of an era. And although Mango and Hungrybox still stand today as some of the game's most popular figures, that aura of invincibility that once surrounded them now exists as but a pale shadow of a bygone age where they stood alone at the top of the world.
No! My armor hit different, Toe. I swear.
Oh my. Oh no! Mango with that face like, God damn it.
The plot armor went right back to regular schedule programming.
After finishing just outside the top 10 at number 13 on SSBM Rank 2022, the Canadian Melee superstar Moki wasted little time in making a statement at his first Super Major of the year, Genesis 9. In one fell swoop, the perennial fan favorite from the north of the border recorded quite easily the strongest performance of his career by placing a phenomenal 3rd place while garnering wins over KJH, SDJ, Hungrybox, Cody Schwab, and Plup. This performance ultimately set the pace for what turned out to be an incredibly successful year, with Moki placing 9th or better at almost every single major he went to other than a 17th at Shine. That's not even mentioning all the wins that he attained over a large percentage of the top-rated players on the planet. In total, according to Liquipedia, Moki had managed to defeat 27 fellow world-ranked opponents over the course of 2023, including Salt, Zuppy, Spark, Axe, Wizrobe, Aklo, and Amsa. Over AMSA in particular, Moki had become a bit of a bracket demon for him, compiling a perfect 7-0 set record against the player who had entered 2023 as global rank 2. And by the time the summer season had concluded, Moki had found himself firmly settled within Melee's highest echelon when he managed to reach all the way to number 5 on SSBM rank summer 2023. This was huge, not just for Moki, but for the entirety of Canadian Melee, as the last time any competitor from the Great White North was able to make it into the top 10 was Kirby Kaze back in 2013, where he debuted at number 9 on the first ever top 100 list. However, for all the progress that he made in 2023, there was still one thing that was holding Moki back from seemingly reaching his full potential, and that was the lack of any national level tournament victories. Now, to his credit, Moki was able to take home a win at the come-up, and there is no doubt on anyone's mind that he's capable of winning a super major, as he's demonstrated with wins over nearly half of the SSBM ranked 2022 top 10 at Genesis 9 alone. The issue at present is just that when it comes to the later stages of championship brackets, he almost always has to contend with two of his biggest roadblocks that he can never quite seem to surpass. Those roadblocks being Zane and Mango, whom Moki was unable to take a single set from during the entirety of last year. Heading into 2024, the real challenge for Moki won't be if he can win a large international event. It'll be if he can finally conquer his two most notorious bracket demons. And honestly, I think he can do it.
Making a crazy comeback right now. Oh, the side B to beat the side B. Gets the up smash and jumps out of the up smash. Oh, the slow get up, and Moki takes it.
IBDW almost bring that back. This is the tensest I think I've ever been for a match.
After placing second at Genesis 8 back in 2022 in one of the greatest Cinderella runs in Melee history, Jmook would embark on one of the most prominent meteoric rises in perhaps all of esports, with him eventually ending the year at number 6 in the world. And going into Genesis 9 at the same venue where he became a superstar overnight, many wondered if he could surpass his placement from last year and become the player we all knew he could be. Come Sunday evening, the world at last got its answer when Jmook needle-stormed his way past a bevy of top talent in Zane, Moki, and Cody Schwab to take home his first ever major championship. This win not only propelled Jmook into an exclusive group of players who have ever won a major, but also marked the first time a Sheik main had ever placed first at a super major in almost 20 years since Captain Jack's victory at MLG San Francisco 2004. Oh god, I was 10. Following up on his history-making appearance in San Jose, Jmook again would shock the world by laying claim to being called the unofficial #1 competitor in Melee after he won Collision 2023 nearly 2 months later over Zane, through losers no less. Before April had even begun, Jmook had found himself near the head of the pack by winning the 2 biggest tournaments of the year up until that point, and looked damn impressive doing so. Things looked to be going up from here for the ninja from New York, but sadly his win at Collision marked the start of a string of consistency issues for Jmook that would unfortunately follow him throughout the rest of the year, with him unable to take home the gold at another major level tournament in 2023. He also suffered a handful of uncharacteristic losses to players outside of the top 10, and sometimes even outside of the rankings themselves when he took losses to individuals like Morsecode762, which I have no idea how we're even going to rank this guy, Faust, Moth, and Skurzo. In spite of these setbacks though, there were still times where Jmook showed glimpses of the same player that once so dominantly made the greatest competitors on Earth bend the knee to him. And if he can tap into that same level of domination in 2024, it will only be a matter of time until Jmook takes his rightful place on the throne where he always seemed destined to sit.
He's got him off stage, trying to set up Marth Killer.
That's crazy. Oh, Nair sends the wrong way from Zane.
Oh,
This could be up there.
It's it!
Jmook
Does it for losers!
That's crazy.
We gotta win from the winner's side! We gotta win from the loser's side!
Entering just 5 total Melee tournaments offline and online in 2023, it can be easy to suggest that Leffen didn't have as much success last year as most of the other members of the game's top 10. While this may have held true when comparing his year-end accolades to players like Zane or Cody Schwab, it was also by no big stretch of the imagination to suggest that Leffen didn't prove himself a top 5 contender after just 7 months of competing. While he didn't enter very many majors before the start of the summer, and by many I mean 2, it was his vintage first place run at the Ludwig Ågren Championship Series 5 that really cemented his place among some of the best performances of 2023. Starting off, the TSM mainstay actually went almost even in set wins and losses in the event's Swiss pool stage, taking down Salt, Triff, and Axe, but also dropping a few sets to Cody Schwab and Joshman. At the onset, this didn't necessarily look impressive for a man long hailed as the Godslayer. But on the final day of competition, Leffen showed that even though he may not have the same degree of attendance in comparison to some of his peers in Melee's upper echelon, he is still a damn good player. Putting on a masterclass of domination, the Swede eventually went on to win the tournament after starching Hungrybox, Cody Schwab, and Zayn, as well as his alter ego Don't Test Us twice to become just one of 4 players to win a Super Major in 2023. And if that wasn't enough for a productive summer, Leffen would further add to his resume by claiming yet another first place trophy when he entered and won a Guilty Gear Strive event at EVO 2023 not even a month later. With both of these wins back-to-back, Leffen has, in my opinion, made a not-so-unreasonable case to being considered one of the best all-around fighting game players. What's next? A grand final showdown against Sonic Fox?
Agreed. Maybe there's something... Ooh, he came all the way down to the platform, held down, and that's it! Leffen takes it, LACS 5!
Wow.
Unreal. What an insane run!
Insane.
Almost didn't make it into the top 8, was down bad.
Before we reveal the best moment of 2023, 1, make sure you subscribe, and 2, here are some other great moments from the year which deserve their own recognition. Axe channels Zeus with a quad thunder conversion.
Short hop nairs, pivot nairs, like pivot grabs, and sometimes even turnaround forward smashes have been pretty good at stuffing, but Axe has been so fast.
Okay, now there
and all of these punishes have been so
Why not
consistent.
three? Okay.
Wow,
And it keeps
that's
going
three!
around.
He did a forward thunder combo!
That is unprecedented! Strike me down, Zeus!
Is that true?
AMSA becomes the back-to-back off-season champion.
No, you can't make it back. Can't make it back. The car's not getting in the way either.
Okay, Cody, you need to do what you've been doing all those other New City games, and you need to do it in a major way. AMSA right now.
Goes right in, and that's it! And AMSA takes it, the back-to-back off-season winner!
AMSA is just unbeatable in the offseason.
He's just too good.
I swear to God, AMSA is playing on a different, well, like you said, dimension.
He's playing in a different dimension.
Moki hits the most disrespectful clip of 2023.
Good weight, yeah, but Kadoran has just been having such a hard time figuring out how to land against Moki here. Nice shine. Yup.
What an edge guard!
You are, my God, you are not nice! Stop! What are you doing? What is he doing? Chill out! What is he doing? Stop! He's still gonna go!
What was that? What was that? What are we even watching?
What the? I need production to censor that clip!
Zayn hits a nasty beatbox at Fate 3.
Here, I'll give you the mic.
Literally, what the fuck is happening?
Slime vs. Blur, the actual greatest set of 2023.
It was always meant to be. Last stock, last game. Don't do it! Look at Josh trying to hold Slime back from running off stage. Oh, Mango! Oh. There, Josh. Oh, no, Josh. That's it. Wow!
Wow.
And off a random F smash, which I was talking so much smack on.
I told you don't know, Lud.
After going winless throughout the first half of the year, Zayn would finally get himself back on the board in 2023 at the aptly titled Tip-Top 14 Resurgence, where after taking said event, he went on to cement his place atop the rankings by winning his next 3 majors in a row. From early summer to late fall, it looked as though Zayn had all but secured his second consecutive title reign as the best competitor on planet Earth. That was until the SSBM ranked Summer 2023's Rank 2, Cody Schwab, embarked on his own resurgence in late August, where he took home the gold at several major events like Shine 2023, Arca Melee 4, and the Big House 11 in what some consider the greatest losers run of all time. After a surprise upset to the Samus Morse Code 762, again I have no idea how we're going to rank this guy, in top 64, Cody would log an 11-set win streak against Chango, The Real Thing, Faust, Polish, Nun, Hungrybox, AMSA, Zayn, Mango, and Plup twice to win one of the most competitive tournaments of the year from the loser's side. By the time December had come around, both Zayn and Cody acknowledged among themselves that they were practically tied for the title of best in the world, and they were also literally tied in sets and games for the year at 6-6 sets and 25-25 games. With their rivalry now at an all-time high and in a completely unprecedented deadlock, Ludwig announced that for the first time in history, the throne for competitive Melee would be up for grabs in a rather bizarre but awesomely unexpected first-to-10 show match between Zayn and Cody. The announcement, while embraced by most, also brought a bit of a debate. For some, the decision for a first to 10 showcase to decide number 1 seemed a bit ridiculous, as fervent data researchers were quick to point out how, while Zayn and Cody did have the same number of major victories, it was Zayn who held the superior head-to-head record against the rest of the field. And on the other side of the argument, people were quick to jump to Cody's defense by stating that, although Zayn had no real bad losses in 2023, Cody actually fared far better against the rest of the game's foremost elite, as he would end the year with positive or even set records against everyone else within the top 10. It was a true peaks versus consistency debate, and then there were those who were just stoked to see some good old-fashioned high-level melee for one last time before the ball dropped on 2023. For the first half of this soon-to-be legendary encounter, Cody mostly held the advantage with his immaculate Marth punish game, with him soon mounting a large 6-2 advantage over the incumbent Zayn after the first 22 minutes of the match. Not willing to relinquish the crown without a fight though, Zayn dug deep and began to slowly claw his way back into the picture by winning the next 4 sets in a row to put Cody almost on his heels. Tied at 6-6 and taking a page directly out of Armada's book, Cody, whether it was because of the pressure of the set or that he simply needed a breather, opted to take a short break after Game 12 to compose himself. And this was seemingly all Cody needed, as he was able to swiftly regain control of the momentum of the set, eventually going on to win the match and the number 1 spot with a close 10-7 game record. Regardless of what you may think of the validity of this victory, there is no denying that he is the undisputed king of Melee in 2023. Oh, and did I forget to mention that he is still technically a free agent?
Dude, it's just hashtag we drive.
No! And he upbeats the other way so he doesn't hit Zayn. Cody has won the first to 10.
He is number 1 in the world.
10-7.
Wow!
Cody is shaky. Can't believe it.
Oh my
He's done
god.
it.
He's taking a moment.
Alright guys, that was my list for some of 2023's best moments in Melee. Let me know if you had a favorite